The Office on Arden Street. Tonight's episode, The Last Call, a Rogue Lantern Studios production.
Most cases come through the door. A knock, a voice, a story that needs somewhere to land. This one came in through the window, or near enough. A phone call, an address, a name attached to an insurance claim that had started asking questions the people filing it couldn't quite answer. I wrote it all down. I always write it down. By the time the Linton siblings arrived at Arden Street, I already knew what their father's death was worth. To the insurance company, anyway. Whether it was worth what they'd done for it was the question Jack was going to have to work out. He usually does. They came on a Thursday. The office smelled like rain and the radiator was doing its seasonal complaining. I had the ledger open, but I wasn't reading it. I was listening to the stairs. There are two kinds of footsteps that come up to the second floor. The ones that hesitate from people who aren't sure they should be here. And the ones that don't. Chester Linton didn't hesitate. His sister's heels were half a beat behind him, keeping up without quite leading. I had them both cataloged before they were through the door.
We're looking for Jack Webb.
You found his office. I'm Miss Finch. What brings you in?
Our father passed 4 days ago. There's an insurance matter that needs to be confirmed before the claim moves forward. We were advised to have an independent investigator sign off on the circumstances.
Advised by whom?
The insurance company suggested it. Routine verification. We wanted it handled cleanly.
We just want everything in order. It's been a difficult week.
She said it with the right amount of tired. Not too much. Enough to be believable if you weren't paying close attention. I was paying close attention. Jack came out of his office the way he does when he's already heard enough to be interested. Unhurried, hat off, taking his time reading the room.
Mr. Linton, Miss Linton, come in.
I didn't follow them in. I didn't need to. I picked up my pen.
Your father's name?
Wayne Linton. He ran Linton Industrial. Steel fabrication, municipal supply contracts. He built it himself over 30 years.
And how did he die?
His car went off River Road, 3 miles past the Colson Bridge. The vehicle caught fire. The body was recovered the following morning after a rainstorm put most of it out. The coroner ruled it an accident. The road was slick. He was driving late.
He drove himself.
He preferred it. Always had.
What was he doing on River Road at that hour?
He had a habit of driving when he couldn't sleep. It was an unusual behavior for him.
Anyone who can confirm he left that evening?
I spoke with him by phone, around 9. He seemed fine. A little quiet, but that was father.
The insurance claim.
His policy is substantial. The company has put a quiet hold on processing while they confirm the circumstances. Standard procedure, apparently, for claims of this size. We thought if an independent investigator reviewed the official findings and confirmed them, it would move things forward without
a longer review.
Exactly. We just want it handled.
Jack let that sit for a moment. His is a particular quality of silence. It isn't empty. It asks things.
I'll need the accident report, the coroner's filing, and the name of whoever's handling the claim.
Of course. We'll have everything sent over.
My rate is $25 a day plus expenses. 2 days up front.
Fine.
He said it fast. People who are confident in a story don't flinch at cost. Chester Linton wrote the check before Jack had finished the sentence. Frances watched her brother and kept her hands folded in her lap. She had the look of someone who had agreed to something a while ago and was only now beginning to feel the full weight of it. I wrote down the time. 11:14 in the morning. The siblings left. The office settled back into itself. Jack stood at the window for a moment, then came through to my desk.
What did you make of them?
He had the whole thing arranged before he walked in. She was filling the spaces he left.
The phone call she mentioned.
Convenient. Nothing to verify. Nobody else heard it.
The claim.
I'll find out the size before you ask. He almost smiled. Then the phone rang. Arden Street.
Miss Finch, Joe Becker, Meridian Life and Casualty. I handle complex claims, the ones that need a slower look. I'm calling about the Linton file.
Go ahead, Mr. Becker.
The claim was filed 3 days ago. Policy is substantial, $400,000, with a double indemnity clause for accidental death. That puts the potential payout at $800,000. The coroner's ruling qualifies it.
But
the file has some things in it that don't quite settle. Not wrong, exactly, just not clean. I'd feel better with an independent set of eyes on the circumstances before we moved to processing. I understand the Linton family may have already been in touch with Mr. Webb.
they were here this morning.
I thought they might be. I want to be clear, Miss Finch. I'm not asking Mr. Webb to reach a conclusion. I'm asking him to look carefully. There's a difference.
He knows the difference. What specifically gives you pause?
The timeline of the accident doesn't fully account for where Mr. Linton was in the hours before. His regular stops, his habits. None of it leads to River Road at that hour by any route that makes sense. And there's a name that keeps coming up in the background of his affairs. A man called Murphy. Frank Murphy. Nobody I've spoken to seems to know what that connection was.
I'll pass that along.
I'd appreciate it. And Miss Finch, if Mr. Webb finds something, I'd like to know before the claim processes. Not instead of the truth, just before it gets buried under paperwork.
Understood, Mr. Becker. I set down the phone. Jack was already in the doorway.
800,000.
And a name. Frank Murphy.
Find him.
Jack went to River Road the next morning. Detective Patricia O'Brien was already there when he arrived, which meant she'd been expecting him, which meant Joe Becker had made more than one phone call.
Webb, I figured you'd come out.
O'Brien, what do you have?
Vehicle went over the embankment here. The guardrail caught part of it, not enough to stop the drop. Then the fire started on impact. A rainstorm about 3 hours later put most of it out before it finished the job. The body was recovered when a county crew came through in the morning.
Official ruling?
Accidental. Road conditions, speed, late hour. Everything on paper supports it.
But?
The shoes. I noticed them at the scene, and I filed it as a detail and moved on.
What about them?
Wayne Linton was a man who wore his money. His family described him as careful about his appearance. His business associates confirmed it. The shoes on that body were work boots. Worn down. The kind a man puts on in the dark because they're what he reaches for.
Not what Wayne Linton reaches for.
Not what the photographs of Wayne Linton would suggest, no. I flagged it. My lieutenant said the rest of the physical evidence was consistent, and to close it.
You didn't close it.
I closed the file, I kept the thought. There's a difference. You know a man named Frank Murphy?
I'm starting to.
His name came up in the background of the Linton family's finances. Loose connection. I couldn't make it tighter. Maybe you can.
The body. Where is it now?
Osborne has it. County Coroner's office. She's thorough. If there's something to find, she'll find it. She just needs the right question asked.
I'll ask it.
Webb, if this goes where I think it might, don't get ahead of me. I want to be the one who brings it in.
That's always been the arrangement.
Beatrice Osborne ran her office the way a good examiner runs everything, by letting the evidence lead and keeping her own conclusions on a short leash until they've earned their footing. Her assistant, Randall Dodson, had no such leash.
Mr. Webb, I was told to expect you. The Linton case, or whatever it turns out to be.
You have doubts about the identification.
I have observations. The identification was made by the family, confirmed against a photograph, and accepted by the attending officer. My job was cause of death. I ruled blunt force trauma consisted with the vehicle impact. That ruling stands.
But...
The fire did significant damage. What it didn't damage is informative.
The hands. The bone structure of the hands. The wear pattern and the joints, the density along the...
Dotson.
Right. Sorry.
No, let him finish.
The skeletal indicators suggest a man who did physical labor for most of his adult life. Extended repetitive motion, consistent stress on the lower lumbar and the joints of the hands and feet. Wayne Linton was an industrialist. He sat behind a desk for the better part of 30 years.
Whoever this man was, he worked with his body. Every day, for a long time. The bones don't lie about that.
The shoes were work boots.
Exactly. The callousing on the feet are consistent with standing work, long shifts, the kind where you don't sit down.
And there's also this.
She set a flask on the tray between them. Dented. The finish burned off one side, but intact.
Recovered from the vehicle. I initially noted it and moved on. When you called ahead, I pulled it back for a closer look. The contents weren't destroyed by the fire. The seal held.
What's in it?
I've sent it to the lab. But the smell, when I opened it, was wrong. Not accelerant. Something else. Something that would be useful to a person who needed a man to be unconscious and cooperative.
Someone gave it to him. Made sure he drank it. And put him in the car.
That's a conclusion, Dotson.
It's where the evidence points.
I'll have lab results within 24 hours. If the contents are what I suspect, the identification of this body will need to be formally reopened.
The man was a regular somewhere. Somewhere he was known. Where do I find that?
The Transit Authority employment records had a Frank Murphy flagged as deceased following the accident report. Bus driver. 22 years on the same routes.
Bus driver. That's standing work. A long shift, that's exactly the kind of wear we're seeing throughout the...
Dotson.
I'll write it up.
Where did Murphy drink?
O'Malley's Tap was the kind of bar that didn't announce itself. No sign worth reading. A door that opened into a room that smelled like the same night it had always been. The kind of place where a man could be a regular, without anyone requiring him to be more than that. Bridget Connolly was behind the bar when Jack came in. She had the particular quality of awareness that comes from watching the same faces for years. She clocked Jack as a stranger before he'd cleared the threshold.
We ain't open for another hour.
I'm not here for a drink. Jack Webb. I'm looking into a matter involving Frank Murphy.
Something shifted in her face. Not grief, exactly. More like the moment a familiar thing takes on a different weight.
Oh, Murph. Yeah, I heard. They are saying it was an accident.
They're saying that? I'm asking something else. How long was he a regular?
7, 8 years. Same stool, same order. Finished his shift, came in, had 2 or 3, and went home. Never trouble, never loud, just steady. The kind of customer you don't notice till they ain't there.
The night he died, was he in?
Yeah, he was in. Earlier than usual, which I noticed. He seemed off. Not drunk. Something else. Quieter than normal. He sat at the end of the bar and nursed him one drink. Barely touched it.
Was anyone with him?
Someone came in later. Sat with him for a while and bought him a drink. That part I remember, because Murph didn't usually let anyone buy him drinks. He was particular about that.
Describe them.
Well dressed, not from this neighborhood. You know, those folks that know they're overdressed but come anyway. He been in before, once or twice over the past month. Always looking for Murph specifically.
You'd remember a face like that.
I remember every face that comes in here. That's the job.
From the back of the bar, one of the regulars had been watching the conversation without pretending not to. Sean Kelly had the look of a man who had been present for a great many things in this room, and was deciding whether this was one worth speaking up about.
That man who came in looking for Murph. I saw him too. Talked to Murph outside for a while, one of the earlier times. Murph didn't look too happy about it.
How many times did you see them together?
3, maybe 4 times over the past month. The first time the man just sat near him, didn't say much. After that they talked more. Well, the man talked. Murph mostly listened.
Murph say anything to you about it?
Not directly. One night I asked him who this fellow was. He said it was nobody. Said it in a way that meant it was somebody, and he didn't want to get into it.
You know what they talked about?
Didn't hear it, but Murph came back in and ordered a second. He almost never orders a second. Last few times I saw them together, Murph looked bothered by something. Can't say what it was.
The door opened. Barry Walsh came in out of the cold, stopped when he saw Jack, and read the room in about 2 seconds.
Something happened?
This man's asking about Murph.
I was here that last night. Came in late, after last call. Bridget was closing up. Murph was still there, which was unusual, to say the least. He should have been gone an hour before. He was not right. Glassy. Like he'd had too much. Except he'd barely touched anything from what Bridget said.
Did you see who he'd been with?
The well-dressed one had already gone. Left maybe 20 minutes before I got here. But he'd left something. A flask. Sitting on the bar in front of Murph. Murph had it in his hand when I came in. Thought it was his.
Did Murph drink from it?
Yeah. He did. I watched him take a pull of it. He said it was a gift. Said the man had said it was good stuff. 20 minutes after that, Murph could barely stand. I figured he'd just hit a wall. Oh, I should have.
You didn't know, Barry. It ain't your fault.
I helped him outside. He said it was fine. He'd walk it off. I let him go. That was the last time anyone saw him.
The bar was quiet. The kind of quiet that settles when those in the room understand what they've been a part of.
The man who came in looking for Murph. If I showed you a photograph, could you identify him?
Yeah, I'm sure I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
He tipped well. 20s. Like he was paying for the inconvenience of being somewhere he didn't belong. I remember that.
You served him.
A couple times. He always ordered something and barely touched it. Wasn't here to drink. He was here to watch Murph.
He say anything to you?
Asked me once how long Murph had been coming in. How regular he was. Whether he ever left with anyone. I thought he was just making conversation.
What did you tell him?
The truth? That Murph came in every night after his shift, sat in the same spot, had his drinks, and walked home alone. Same as always. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I've been thinking about it since.
He sat with that drink all night, barely touched it. And then he drank from a stranger's flask and walked out the door. That's the part I can't shake.
Jack came back to the office in the early afternoon and laid it out the way he always does. Standing, hat still on, working through it by saying it.
The body isn't Wayne Linton. Everything Osborne found points to a man who spent his life doing physical work. Bus driver, same route for 22 years.
Frank Murphy.
Murphy was at O'Malley's the night he died. Someone came in, bought him a drink, left a flask. Murphy was incapacitated within 20 minutes of drinking from it, walked out and never came back.
The car. Linton's car.
Was found on River Road, with a body that isn't Linton's, which means either Wayne Linton staged his own death,
or his children staged it for him.
Without his knowledge, without his body, they needed a man no one would look too hard at. Ordinary, working class, the kind of man who'd be easy to explain in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The phone call Frances said she had with her father?
Possibly real, possibly made before he disappeared. If Wayne Linton is alive...
He doesn't know his children filed a death claim in his name. The phone rang. Arden Street.
Mr. Webb, the lab came back early. The flask contents are consistent with chloral hydrate, enough to incapacitate an adult male within 15 to 20 minutes of consumption. The dental records we pulled for Wayne Linton don't match the body. The body is definitely Frank Murphy. I filed the amended report.
Thank you, Dr. Osborne.
One more thing. Randall found something in the vehicle debris. A business card, mostly burned. Enough left to read a name. Chester Linton.
That's enough.
Jack called them back in that evening. He didn't tell them why. He said there had been developments and that their presence would be appreciated. Chester said they'd be there by 7. He said it the way a man says something when he's already deciding how to manage it. They arrived at 6:58.
You said there were developments? The claim.
Why don't you?
They sat without being asked. Chester arranged himself with the careful stillness of a man holding a position he's committed to. Frances sat slightly apart from him, which I noticed.
The body recovered from the vehicle on River Road isn't your father.
Chester didn't move. Frances's hands tightened in her lap.
That's not possible. The identification was confirmed.
By you, against a photograph. The coroner's amended report now reflects that the skeletal evidence is inconsistent with a man of your father's history and occupation. The dental records don't match. The body belongs to Frank Murphy, bus driver, 22 years on city routes, regular at O'Malley's Tap, where someone matching your description, Mr. Linton, was seen on several occasions in the week before his death.
I don't know anyone by that name.
3 witnesses at O'Malley's can identify you. A flask recovered from the vehicle tested positive for chloral hydrate. Murphy was seen drinking from a flask matching that description approximately 20 minutes before he became incapacitated and left the bar. Your business card was recovered from the vehicle debris.
Chester's jaw tightened. He held the line.
Whatever you think you've constructed here.
The insurance claim is for $800,000. Your father is alive. You used a working man who had nothing to do with your family, a man whose only relevance was that he wouldn't be missed quickly, and you put him in that car.
You have a theory. You don't have enough.
Chester, stop.
It was the first time she'd spoken since they sat down. Chester turned to look at her. Something passed between them that had the weight of a much older argument.
Francis, be quiet. Maybe you need your pills.
It's over. Look at him. He has all of it.
We are not doing this.
Father was going to change the will. Chester found out 3 weeks ago. He was going to leave the business to the employees' trust. 30 years. And he was going to leave it to people Chester had never once spoken to. Chester said we were owed it. That we'd waited long enough. That Father would never understand what it had cost us to stand in his shadow and never be enough.
Fran!
I went along with it. I told myself it was just insurance. Just money. That nobody was really hurt. But Murphy. I've been worried sick about Murphy since the night it happened.
Where is your father now?
We told him there was a problem with the Coulson property. He went to look at it 3 days ago. Chester gave him a gift of some wine. He hasn't come back. I don't know if he...
The office door opened. He was a large man. The kind of presence that changes the dimensions of a room just by entering it. Late 50s, maybe 60. He moved carefully, the way men move when they've spent years making sure nothing was wasted. His eyes went to his children first, then to Jack, then back to his children, and stayed there.
I got your message, Miss Finch.
Chester stood up. For the first time since he'd walked into the office, his composure didn't hold entirely.
Father, I can explain.
No.
Just the one word. It closed the room.
How much does she know?
Enough.
The man, Murphy.
He's been formally identified. The amended report is filed.
Wayne Linton looked at his son for a long moment. Chester held the look for as long as he could. Then he looked away.
I built that company without asking anyone to carry what I wouldn't carry myself. I expected the same of you. I see now what that cost you. I see now what you decided to do with it. I opened your wine, but I didn't drink it. Guess that's a good thing.
Frances tried to defend herself.
Father, I want you to know that I never...
Don't.
Knocks at the door. Measured. Unhurried. Detective O'Brien.
Miss Finch, Mr. Webb called ahead. I understand the situation has resolved itself.
It has. Chester Linton, Francis Linton. Detective O'Brien will take you from here.
Chester stood without being told. Whatever he'd intended when he walked into this office 4 days ago, whatever story he'd prepared, it was done. He had the look of a man who is pushed against something until there's nothing left to push. Frances stood and looked at her father. He didn't look back.
We'll do this quietly. There's no reason for this to be anything other than what it is.
She walked them out. The door closed behind them. Wayne Linton stood in the middle of the office. He didn't sit. He looked at the door where his children had been standing, and he didn't say anything for a long moment.
What happens to Murphy's family?
The Transit Authority has been notified. His records are being corrected. Whatever he had coming to him will go where it belongs.
I'll see to the rest. He didn't have anything to do with my family. Shouldn't have been any part of this.
He picked up his hat from where he'd set it on my desk. He held it for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
I'm sorry it went this way.
They made that choice. I made choices that led to it. That's what I'll be sitting with.
He left. The office went quiet. Last call. In a bar, it means the night is ending. It means whatever you still want, you'd better ask for it now, because in a few minutes, the lights come up and the room becomes what it actually is. And everything that looked different in the dark is just itself again. Chester Linton had called last call on his father's life 3 weeks before Murphy ever walked into O'Malley's tap. He'd decided the account was settled, the inheritance earned, the waiting done. He'd ordered the end of it the way you order a final round, efficiently, without ceremony, expecting someone else to carry the glass. Murph carried it. He didn't know what was in it. That's the thing about ordinary men. They move through their lives on known routes, at known hours, carrying the weight of work that nobody tracks very carefully. They are chosen for their reliability, for the fact that nothing about them raises flags. Chester Linton looked at Frank Murphy and saw a man easy to replace in someone else's story. He was wrong about that. The bones remembered. The bar remembered. Liam, stacking glasses in the back, remembered the 20s. Barry Walsh remembered watching a man walk out into the dark and thinking it would be fine. Frances Linton had been sick about Murphy since the night it happened. She carried that alone for 3 weeks, and it cost her everything. Some people aren't built to finish what they start. I don't know if that makes her better or worse than her brother. I just know she's the one who stopped. Wayne Linton drove home from Coulson that evening and went to work the next morning, same as always. The company he'd spent 30 years building was still there. The will he'd planned to change was still unsigned. He signed it 2 weeks later. I know because Joe Becker called to tell me the claim had been formally closed. He said it was one of the cleaner closings he had handled. I told him I doubted that very much. Jack took the next case 3 days later. Missing person. A woman on the east side who hadn't come home on a Thursday. He put on his hat and went out, and I picked up my pen and started a new page. That's how it goes. The last call ends. The lights come up and the bar closes, and somewhere outside, the next thing is already beginning. Jack and I are always ready for that new beginning. From the office on Arden Street, The Last Call.
The Office on Arden Street, Episode 3, The Last Call. Cast: Tristan Fane as Velma Finch, Timothy Draper as Jack Webb, Kevin Algiers as Chester Linton, Alyssa Peterson as Frances Linton, Sea Shadow as Wayne Linton, Samantha Draper as Beatrice Osborne, Tara Gilhausen as Bridget Connolly, Joseph Podowski as Liam Doyle, Ray McGraw Jr. as Sean Kelly, Zachary Cantrell as Barry Walsh, Benjamin P. Johnson as Joe Becker, McKenna Sangren as Patricia O'Brien, Ray McGraw III as Randall Dodson. Written and produced by Olivia Rogue. Sound design and editing by Kevin Algiers. Art direction by Tristan Fane. Show announcing by Jadzia Craft. This has been a Rogue Lantern Studios production, featuring performers and collaborators from the Mike Mob. Special thanks to the Mike Mob community and everyone helping bring these stories to life.